Hi, we are going to talk about the basics of graphing. So, this is all things that you did in seventh grade, eighth grade, and last year in Algebra 1. So, a lot of this should be easy. If not, let me know if you have a specific question about something. And Here we go. So, graphing a line, we all know that you have slope intercept form. And slope intercept form is the easiest way to graph because the B is the y-intercept, and that's where you begin on the y-axis, where you make your first point, your first dot. Your M is your slope, and the slope is rise over run. Okay? So the M, the number right after the equal sign, if it's in slope-intercept form, is your slope. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go through this worksheet and I'm not going to do all the questions. There's actually 30 questions on this paper. So in this video, I'm probably going to be able to do 12 of them for you. And then I'll give you the rest for homework. Okay. So here we go. The slope of the line. All right. Slope is the number right after the equal sign, the M. It's 5/4. Okay. So you can do number 2 for homework. Number 3. All right. These two lines don't have ordered pair points on them, like a circle dot. So what you have to do is you have to find where there is a perfect intersection. Where does the blue line hit a black square at a perfect intersection? So you kind of can go up and say, oh, right there is one. No, that's not perfect. This is perfect. And you only need 2 dots to rise and run. And I always suggest to my students that you start at the lowest point. So if I'm going to start at the lowest point, I'm going to rise 1, and I'm going to go running 1, 2, 3. Positive 1 was up, positive 3. If I were to go left or downhill, then that would be a negative. An uphill line is a positive slope. A downhill line is a negative. So this slope is going to be negative something. And you have to find the dots yourself. So number 4 will be homework. Okay, this is not in y equals mx plus b. Your first job is to change it to y equals mx plus b, which means you need to move the 4 over. So since it's 4 divided by y, it's 4 times y, let's divide by 4. Y equals x over 4. Same thing in algebra as 1/4 x. So that means that my slope is 1/4. If you recall, parallel lines are go the same direction and they're like never crossing. So parallel lines have the same slope because they have the same tilt. So you would need to find the slope of a line parallel. Well, if the slope of this line is 1/4, then the slope of a parallel line would also be 1/4. So that's kind of easy. This one you need to change to y equals mx plus b by moving the 1 and dividing by this negative sign. And then you would just write a slope parallel, which is the same slope. So number 6 is homework. All right, number 7, find the slope. If I'm not given a graph, I don't rise and run like this one. I use the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here's x1 and here's y1. Here's x2 and here's y2. Okay, so that being said, you subtract. Watch out for negative signs. Okay, -4 minus 2 over -3 minus 17. -4 minus 2 is -6. -3 minus 17 is -20. So 6 over 20, 2 goes into both of them, 3/10. And negative divided by negative is a positive, so it's positive 3/10. Number 8 will be your homework. Sketch a graph. Here we go. My slope is the number in front of the x, right after the equal sign. I don't see a number. So that means that I'm going to have to, if there's no number given, it's a 1. 1 over 1. Rise over run. My y-intercept, my begin, my y-intercept is -3. So you always begin with your y-intercept. And then from my y-intercept, which is on my y-axis, I'm going to rise and run the slope. Rise 1, run 1. Rise 1 up, run 1. Rise 1 up, run 1. If I wanted to reverse it, I would go back to the y-intercept and I would go down 1, left 1. Anyways, connect the dots, la 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 la. There is your line. Number 10, it should be super easy. You can do that one for homework. All right, graphing. Change them to y equals mx plus b. Number 11, you just have to move the 6x over. Number 12, this one I think more people would have difficulty with, so let's do it together. 0 equals -8x minus 15 plus 3y. I want the y alone, so just start getting rid of everything and moving it to the other side. So I could add 8x. So now 8x equals -15 plus 3y. I could add the 15, inverse operation, right? If it's a -15, add 15. 8x plus 15 equals 3y. Then I could divide by 3, which I should. Okay, so 8/3 is my slope. X plus 15 divided by 3 is 5. Y equals mx plus b. If you don't like the way that looks, then you're very welcome to write it by just flipping the order of the left side and the right side. Anyways, you would begin at 5 and your slope would be rise 8, run 3. So the rest from 13 and 14, like 13 and 14 is in standard form. So again, let's do this for homework and this for homework. Change them to y equals mx plus b. Okay. 15, I'm given a line. All right. Well, the first thing you need to know is, where's my y-intercept? Where do I begin? Where does my blue line cross my black line? Right here. 3. So that means my begins at 3. Now, the slope is, where are there 2 spots where the blue line crosses at a perfect intersection? Here and here, here. See that? All right. So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, -1. Y equals -1x plus 3. 16. Let me practice changing, because I didn't do 13 or 14 for you, but let me practice changing a standard form into slope-intercept form. So here we go. Move the x term and then get rid of the 7. So I'm going to get the x term over, and then I'm going to divide by 7. Y equals -3/7 x minus 4. Okay, so that's slope-intercept. So I want you to do 17 for homework. Not hard, just distribute this 3 halves, and 18 for homework. Okay. All right, 19. Easy. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and the y-intercept. Well, this is my slope and this is my b. And remember, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So what you need to do is just put these two together. Y equals -1/3 x plus 5. And you're done. Okay. Starting at 20 and 21 and 22 and 23. Okay. This is good. This is good. All right. Um, there's something called point slope form, and it's this. And I'm going to need to do different colors. Y minus, now this Y1 that I'm going to put here is a number in the ordered pair, an ordered pair that they give us, equals M X minus X1. Now, I'm hoping that this is all review because you need to replace these numbers in blue that I put stars over with this M, this X1, and this Y1. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this information that I was given, 3 comma 1, and that my slope is 4/3, and you're going to fill it in here. So here we go. Y minus 1 equals M 4/3, parentheses, X minus 3. Good. So this, though, is point slope form. Point slope form is not the same as slope intercept. So I'm going to need to distribute, okay, this 4/3, and then get the 1 over. Let's distribute first. 4/3 times X, and then 4/3 times -3 is going to be -4. And then just add 1. Y equals 4/3 X minus 3. That's slope intercept form. So point slope we're going to use for here. We can use this X1 and this Y1. But on 21, we haven't found the slope yet. So find the slope. Y2 minus Y1. -1 minus -2 over X2 minus X1. Okay? 1/4. So my slope is 1/4, and then here's my X and my Y. So you're going to use this formula, but you are going to replace the X1 with this -3, this Y1 with this -2, and this M with 1/4. Okay? So you will have to finish 21 for homework. 22. Parallel means that you're going to have the same slope, -7/4, and the point that you're going to pick is this point, -4, 5, xy, right? And you will use this same formula and plug it in. So parallel lines have the same slope. What we haven't talked about is perpendicular. Perpendicular have opposite reciprocal signs. So let's do number 23. Oh, sorry, finish number 22 for homework. All right, here we go. 23. There's not enough space here. Bummer. Okay. If I want a perpendicular to this slope is 1/8. A perpendicular slope would be, okay, the opposite reciprocal of this slope. Opposite sign and reciprocal. The opposite of positive is negative. The reciprocal of 1/8 is 8. Okay? So that is going to be the slope that I'm going to use for my new line. And what point am I going to use for my new line? Well, look, it needs to pass through this point. Okay? So this is how it would be set up. Y minus -5 equals -8, X minus 1. Okay? Good. Perpendicular, I want you to practice 24 for homework. I don't want you to do 25 or 26 because we've already done 2 problems that are like that. So Y repeat, because this is a lot of homework for you. Okay. So that's homework 23, slope-intercept form. So this is not quite done. You need to change it to y equals mx plus b. Okay. Last page is sketch a graph of each equation. Okay? These are parabolas, guys. All right, we haven't done parabolas. I am going to provide a link to graphing parabolas, a separate video. It's a video that I made for my Algebra 1 kids, but the basics of this are so an x squared means that the graph is going to have a curve in it, okay? So basically, what you can do is we always make a table of values, all right? So the table of values that I'm going to make is going to have some negative and some positive, just so I can figure out, okay? You can obviously do like a -1, a 0, and a 1. That would be really easy. So let's do that. The numbers that I picked, this -1, 0, and 1, I just picked because they're small and they're easy to square, right? So it's going to be 3 times -1 squared. So I do -1 squared first is 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. -1, comma 3. All right? 0. Plug in 0. 0 squared. Okay, well, 0 squared is going to be 0, which would be 0. 0, comma 0. 1. 3 times 1 squared. 1 squared I do first is 1 times 3 is 3. So it's 1, comma 3. So here's the shape of my parabola. Okay? Now, from this, I can then say the vertex is where my parabola curves out. So that's going to be 0, 0. My axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is the line that cuts down the middle. And that would be right here. Just if I were to fold this parabola in half, it would be there. That equation of that line would be x equals 0. Axis of symmetry is x equals 0. Okay? And a maximum means that it looks like this because it has a top point. A minimum means that it looks like this because it has a bottom low minimum point. So this has a minimum. Okay? So now I want you to try 28 for homework. So parabolas, I'm just doing some basic info on parabolas, but parabolas can get a lot harder, okay? For us to find the vertex, we're going to do 29 right now. For us to find the vertex on number 29, I need to pick some points because I don't know where my vertex is going to be. There is a way to find the vertex where you do negative b over 2a, where a is -1, b is 2, and c is 1. I don't know if any of you remember that from Algebra 1. But again, I am going to show you some, I'm going to put a link to a video for parabolas if you want to watch that. So I am going to have you find the vertex first. So the x coordinate of my vertex is going to be -b. B is 2. -2 over 2 times a. A is -1. So my x value of my axis of symmetry is going to be -2 over -2, which is the same as 1. So my vertex is going to be 1 comma, and then I don't know what my y value is going to be. The way that you figure out what your y value is going to be is if I know that x is going to be 1, I'm going to plug 1 in for x, and then I'm going to solve for y. So that looks like this. Y equals, so x equals 1. negative 1, and I actually put it like this, plus 2 times 1 plus 1. Y, sorry, I have a dog. Y equals, okay, negative 1 squared. Negative, okay, 1 times 1, and then you put the negative in front. All right? The x is positive 1. There's a big difference between negative 1 squared and negative, 1 squared. This one is positive 1. This one is negative 1. Okay? That's also something you need to know. Negative 1 plus 2 plus 1. So my vertex is going to be negative 1 plus 2 plus 1, 2. So you're going to go over 1 and up 2. That's my vertex. Now, from this vertex, I am now going to pick a point on the left side and on the right side because I need a shape to my parabola. I need to know, how does it curve on the left side? How does it curve on the right side? Which means that I'm going to have to pick now table of values like a 0 and a 2 maybe. So then you do the math. Negative 0 squared plus 2 times 0 plus 1. 0 plus 0 plus 1 equals 1. Okay, 0, 1. 0, 1. 2. Negative 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 1. Negative 4 plus 4 plus 1. Awesome. That becomes 0, 1. For 2 up 1, here is my parabola. Hey, it's going downward. It's going downward because it was leading off with a negative sign. Okay. Now, again, I realize that all this parabola stuff, this is a lot for just like a review. We haven't talked about parabolas at all. Normally, I would spend like 2 days on this or something, you know? So that is what we've got. I want you to do number 30 for homework. Now, remember, do the negative b over 2a. So I'm going to do negative b over 2 times a. And that's going to be my x value of my, or wait, I'm sorry. 16 over 4. 4, comma, and then you have to plug 4 into this equation to find your y value. Okay? Real quick on number 29, my axis of symmetry. Where would I cut this down the middle? It would be this line right here. That is the equation x equals 1. And then, remember, a maximum goes downward. It has a high point, and a minimum goes upward. This has a maximum. Right? So I'm going to reference some videos for you to watch, but this already is a lot. I just want you to try 20 and 29. And if all else fails, guys, just make a table of values. But it really helps if you're able to find the vertex first so you know where the curve is going to be. That's huge. So your homework is just to finish these problems that I labeled homework. Tomorrow we're doing factoring. Okay, so I'm going to do a bunch of factoring into 2 days. And, well, no, I think I have to do it in 1 day, actually. So, yeah, remember your grant bucks. Guys, period 4, your grant bucks are due on Wednesday. Period 6, your grant bucks are due on Friday. So, keep that in mind, all right? Talk to you guys soon. Reach out if you have any questions. Bye, guys.